Hello, everybody. Thank you for listening to me as I go live on Facebook, and you will see me also on YouTube. And thank you for the people on my email group list that are listening to this. I've been thinking about, of course, it's Friday. I'm recording it on Friday, hence I'm like my glasses on. I've been working on my computer, but I'm happy to be here. That's one of the things I love to do, and it's definitely a charging batteries is speaking to anybody, right? Speaking to you, speaking on stages, delivering some thoughts that I have. And of course, I have thoughts about today's Torah week portion. And so we are Jewish people, and we study the Torah, right? This is our thing. And every week we read a portion, and in the whole year we read all of it, and then we come back again. I use these stories a lot as a jumping stone to deliver some important messages. And so I want to share with you, all of you out there, today's story. And I don't always go back every week with the story. I jump around sometimes, but so it happened that the Torah portion, the name of the Torah portion is Mishpatim, and it means laws. A lot of people say that the meaning of Torah is law, which is partially correct. Partly is correct, absolutely. Torah means law, but it means more than that. The word Torah means also showing us a path. The word to tour, I remember one time hearing it from Rabbi Zuckerman. The word to tour comes from like the idea of Torah, to tour the path, to tour, to go onto a journey. So what is really a Torah? It's a combination of the laws that this week we are learning a bunch of them, but it's also the story. And why is it? Why is our most holy work that we read, Jewish people read, and not Jewish people read constantly, why is it not just laws? Why is it connected with stories? And I think the simple answer is that often in life, we relate more to stories than just rules and law, because we can find ourselves in the stories. And if you go through the stories of the Bible, I bet you anything, you will be able to see yourself, and if not yourself, other people in the story. So often I've been putting myself in the story of the Genesis stories, and gosh, do we have many of those, right? And the stories in Exodus. This particular Torah portion has to do with a lot of laws, but there is stories behind them. One of the laws is talking about treating the stranger, how we treat the stranger. It's not a law that is picked up by itself and just put it in front of us. It's a law because there is a story. And the story is that we were also slaves in Egypt. We know the feeling of being in a place of slavery. So the Torah portion started with this law. And as a matter of fact, before we even go that, the first sentence, it says, Ve'ele hamishpatim asher tasim lifnehem. And these were the ordinance that you shall place before them. Let's just talk for a second. What does that mean? What does that mean, before you should place before them? Isn't that a bit of an odd way of saying it? You could have said, and this is the laws you should teach the people. Right? Simple, to the point. This is the laws you should teach the people. What does that mean? This is the laws that you will place before them. The first thought that comes to my mind is, when do we place something in front of other people? Is when we serve them a meal. When we serve them something. I'm imagining my granddaughter, where we serve her all these little meal, all these little ingredients and all these little dishes, and she picks and chooses what she wants, and she tastes them, and she puts them back, and then she tastes another thing, and she puts it back, and then she goes back and forth, and she studies it. So I think these laws that we have in front of us are not for one time and that's it, but it's something that is placed before us to for us to touch and taste and go back over time and time again. And one of the very prevalent law in this Torah portion is about how we treat the strangers. Have you ever been a stranger in your life? Anywhere? I know when I came to the United States, I very much felt like a stranger. When I go to a different event that let's say networking, or let's say I'm speaking in a crowd and to a crowd that I don't know all the people there or some of the people there, I feel like I'm a stranger. So when you feel that you're a stranger, knowing that feeling, how can we use that feeling that we have experienced, each and every one of us experienced being a stranger? How can we elevate someone else's feeling when they are in that place? When we are in a party and we know everybody and we see somebody who's their first timer, how do we greet them? How do we make them feel that they're part of the group? I just had a text about a week ago from somebody from an organization that I belong to, and this person was new, and they announced that she was new, and I sent her a private message on the chat. It was in a Zoom, welcoming her to the group, and that was a couple months ago. And then ever since, every time I see her, I communicate with her directly. Not only that, I reached out to her and we had a coffee Zoom together. Last week, and I don't have my phone in front of me, but last week she sent me a text and she said, I want you to know, Doris, that you are the only one who greeted me and make it my presence be a personal, reach to you. That I reached to her and not many people did. Pay attention how it made her feel. I did it because I just thought it would be nice to do it for somebody who's new. But what I say often, it says it landed on ripe years. She was ready to accept that. And I remember myself being in that group for the first time, not knowing anybody and trying to find my way. So if there is something that is super important in this Torah portion, is this: put yourself in other people's shoes. Feel what they feel, being a stranger. And not for nothing, this law about feeling for the stranger, taking care of the stranger, is actually appearing 36 times in our Torah, in the first 5 books: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. 36 times. And when it appears this many times, a red flag should go up on our heads. Like, this is important. So if there is one thing I would recommend, if there is somebody who you see coming for the first time, greet them, follow up with them, make them feel that they are part of the group. And when you are a stranger and you go into a new place, know that there are people there who will greet you. And hopefully that would kind of lower the anxiety a little bit of starting a new thing. And that is what I wanted to share it with you. And you know what? Another thing is, when we learn those laws and with the stories that behind the law, right? There's a law with no reason, which we have too, not this week's Torah portion, but we do have a division between the laws that are civil laws and make sense, and those laws who are, that's the way it is. And I can't explain to you why. One of the examples of these laws that has no reason is the laws of keeping kosher. That's what you do. Now, of course, over the centuries, we have come up with 1,000,001 reasons why we should. But really, in the truth of it, there is 2 words that have been said in this week's Torah portion that I have said to myself and others 1,000,000 times. And that's na'aseh v'nishma. We will do and we will listen. And that's quite extraordinary that it says it in our Torah in this order. We will do and we will listen. Because normally you would think you should do it the other way around, right? You should say, we will listen to what you have to say. And if we like it or if we agree with it, we will do it. And here comes this brilliant literature that is holy for us Jewish people and for others, I think. And you'll say, no, you first do it. The idea of activating, which is in positive intelligence, way up here. It's one of our sage powers, is the idea activate it. Do it. Like Nike. Nike got it right. Do it. Just do it. And of course, the other sage power is the idea of empathy. And that's how I think this Torah portion is connected so beautifully to the positive intelligence world and the coaching world in general, is feeling the sense of empathy and moving ourselves into actions. So I hope everybody's going to have a great weekend. I wish everybody to have a wonderful weekend ahead, and I'll talk to you next time. Thank you for listening. Bye.